Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting fun mix episode of Yoko 10. Yoko 10 is about sharing best business practices, not only business practices, personal practices as well. During our coffee break, Yasas and I, we thought of continuing the same conversation we actually had a little while ago. He actually shared his journey as a magician, as an entrepreneur, how he evolved and how he failed. Why we want to talk about this session is, Yasas, personally I think you add a lot of gravity and value in that conversation, and I personally believe that information is so vital for every single person who is watching.
Thank you, sir.
And that's why we wanted to do it as part 2. In fact, we are doing the same session recording the same session
The same day.
on the same day. So this is not live, it's a pre-recorded session. Right, yes, us. And previously you said when you evolve as a magician and a mentalist that you failed a lot. If you can give little light to us, how this failure has molded you as the person you are, I would say I'm using the term successful because successful, the terminology can be differ in different person's perspective, but I see you as a successful entrepreneur, and as a successful entrepreneur, how you are serving the community through your failures. If you like to share some light in that.
So, Asi, if we go back to session 1,
Yes.
we stopped at the point where I talked about going to Italy, witnessing the World Championship of Magic, and having that first international exposure and experience and network that really helped. And immediately that happened in 2015.
Yes.
So, I came back inspired, highly motivated, with new connections and passion, because I spoke to magicians like Sean Farquhar, who was a 2 times world champion magician, and couple of other magicians. I met Franz Harare, who worked with Michael Jackson for 25 years at that same session. I met so many other magicians, and I felt, wow, if we are going to change the game in magic in Sri Lanka, we need to show international magic in Sri Lanka first. Because number one, we may not have that experience and exposure.
Yes.
Neither would people, the local community, would accept us as international performers. And we need that experience. The only way we can do that is bringing international performers to Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And I thought if I do that, number one, it would build an audience where people would look at magic in a different level. Number two, it would inspire the magicians who are locally here in Sri Lanka and the youth who are passionate about magic, who are enthusiasts of magic, to look at it in a different way. That's when we started 2015. So the whole idea was for me to organize a night of illusions again. And for that, we needed video clips, we needed proof, we needed reference, because if you walk up, it's an expensive thing. If I'm going to bring down magicians, there's air cost, there's accommodation, we need to pay them. And how am I going to do this?
Yes.
That was the big question. So the only way is getting sponsorship.
Yeah.
And of course selling tickets, but selling tickets alone will not cover your costs.
Correct.
And this is where the finance part comes in, because you have to prepare a budget, then you have to put a project plan in place, you need to build things, so all that happens behind the scene. And that is why I thought, okay, let's go ahead and do a session where we invite C-level people free of charge at no cost. Now today I won't say, let's do free things.
Yes.
But back then, there was no other way to convince them that magic is something that is worth investing as a sponsorship. It has a market out there. And we booked the Bishop's College Auditorium, you remember, with personal finance.
Yes.
#33 was a sponsor.
Yeah.
We put some money from #33 and then personally. And we ran a show for C-level audience that we knew.
Yes.
And that was eye-open, if you remember. That's where we did the crystal transposition first time to a public audience. People who came in, we had some testimonials. Unfortunately, the audio quality was bad of the testimonials, but they saw something different. They never knew magic could be done at this level. And that gave the confidence and the videos for me to go back to brands and say, look, this is what we've done. And now imagine we bring an international world champion magician. I was
Yes.
thinking of one at the
Yes.
initially. We could do something bigger. By then, Azi, the norm in Sri Lanka for a magic show, you'll never sell a ticket over 1,000 rupees.
Yeah.
That was the reality. Unless it's an Indian magician who came to Sri Lanka with large props and all, still probably it'll be 1,200. I don't think it had ever gone
Yes.
beyond 1,000. For Sri Lankan magicians, it would have never gone beyond 1,000 rupees a ticket. So the challenge was, am I going to make it cheap? Am I going to make it exclusive? And I took the gamble of, I'm not going to sell anything below 1,000.
Yes.
The cheapest ticket was sold to the Sri Lanka Magic Circle members because I wanted magicians to see this. That was given at 750 only for the members.
Wow.
And that was the balcony.
Yes.
Rest was over 1,000. The most expensive ticket back then was 10,000 rupees.
This was 2016, right?
Yeah, so 2016. And we planned it. So we had the VIP tickets and then tickets in the middle. And I got a big sponsor who 1 week before the show said, no, we can't do it because we had the Independence Day celebration and we went over budget, so we can't sponsor you. So I had to make a call. Fortunately, we hadn't printed the tickets. Sorry, it was about 2 weeks before the show.
Okay.
We hadn't printed the tickets. It was going to go on that day for print. We hadn't started our advertising. So now I was challenged and I had to...
Another failure.
Definitely.
Another challenge.
It was a failure.
Yes.
In my view, at that moment, it was like everything collapses, right? Because your main sponsor is not there. So I contacted this magician, Sean Farquhar, and the Clairvoyants, and I said, like, please, we have a challenge here. Give me some time. I'm sure I want to do this. We are going to do this, but it might take about a month. Please give me that opportunity. And fortunately to me, they agreed. Then we had to go for another run, look for new sponsors, and ultimately I think in I can't remember the exact date, but in February or early March, I think, we had the first Night of Illusion show. It was called Night of Illusions Returns because it was back in 2003 I did the last show.
Yes.
Where we had the world champion magician, the Clairvoyants, at our show. And at that moment, they were world champions. Even the Clairvoyants were world champions for mentalism. And they had auditioned for America's Got Talent at that moment.
Yes.
You remember their story,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But the telecast wasn't out. They hadn't launched America's Got Talent at that season,
Yes.
and they ended up being second place winners of the whole series. And they were, to date, they are the most performed artists in America's Got Talent seasons. Every season they are
They
brought
were
in.
here in Sri Lanka. Literally, they were here in
They
Sri
were
Lanka.
here in Sri
And we
Lanka.
took pictures as well, yes.
Yes, a lot of behind the scenes stories, right? So when that show happened, I was surprised. The first tickets that we finished were the 10,000s,
Wow.
the most expensive ticket. And that gave me an indication there is a market for exclusivity.
Yes.
You don't need to sell things cheap. I mean, I remember certain people who are magicians were laughing. They're saying like, who on earth is going to buy these tickets? How are you going to even sell this? But I ignored them because I believed in it and I thought we can do this. And that show was sold out. If you remember, we had no tickets
Yes,
at the
yes.
entrance. We raised, after cost and everything, we raised 1.1 million, which we donated to the Kandy Cancer Hospital, which was building at that
Wow.
time,
Yes.
which was the largest donation ever made from a magic show to date. Okay, so
Did you plan it or it just happened?
it was the cause.
Yeah.
I was going after this project because I'm from Kandy, like you, and I want to do something for Kandy. And I believe there's no better way than using art to give back to the community. And I believe any art form, whilst it's entertainment, has the power of changing a society.
Correct.
Inspiring, supporting, or giving them a motivation, or even generating revenue. And this has always been behind my mind. So we were able to raise this. And also the magicians who came in, they were so nice. I told them, consider this one as a leisure
Yes.
visit to Sri Lanka, beautiful island.
Yes.
I made sure that they get to go to Sigiriya, Kandalama, candy and so on and so forth. So there was a tour for them. They stayed. We had good sponsors from 8 Spence hotels who offered them the best places like Heritage Kandalama, Earls Regency. So they got a good stay. And I told them also, you're contributing towards a charitable cause.
Correct.
Because of that, they came free of charge.
Wow.
If we had to pay the magicians, we wouldn't have had that show.
Yes.
Right? And that was the first game changer in the Sri Lankan magic history, because we had world champions performing a sold out show,
Right.
and that allowed me to change the game in magic in Sri Lanka.
Yes, were you the first person who brought these international magicians to Sri Lanka? Or
I
were
believe
there
for a
anyone
public
else?
show, yes.
Uh-huh.
But in history, there had been, I saw somewhere, even Harry Houdini has passed Sri Lanka. He had come to Sri Lanka once while he was traveling on tour or something, but not for a performance.
Okay.
So we would have had international magicians,
Right.
but definitely not 2 world champions at one time, and definitely not a public show of this caliber. So it was the first time we did it.
Wow.
And that
I
was
mean,
the milestone.
that's a beautiful achievement as a person. I'm using the word a village boy.
Same village.
Yes, same village, right? A village boy who actually brought international performance artists to Sri Lanka, and also with a very noble quest, right?
Definitely.
As a friend, I know that Yasas did not take any financial benefit from that event.
Definitely.
And obviously you were spending a lot of money from his own pocket as well.
Correct.
By doing it, I'll actually convert that into a question. Why on beep you did that? I mean, why did you spend money from your own pocket for doing this, bringing international artists?
I'm a strong believer that without taking a risk, without investing, you cannot get a return. And for me, it's the long game. I never look at short-term things. Even #33 today, you know how far forward we are thinking, because I believe if you put money as the first aspect in anything you do in life, you're not going to do the best, because you're always going to try to think, how can I make money out of this? How can I make this more profitable? How can I have a larger margin? How can I cut cost? And that is a direct challenge for your quality of what you deliver. But if you cut down, I'm not saying you need to do everything free, put your money and invest everything, but if you want to really focus on doing something great, you need to focus on quality. You need to focus on doing the best in what you do. And at that aspect, you probably cannot 100% justify your investment.
Yes.
But if you do the right thing and you consistently do that, money will follow. And if we kind of fast forward today, I'm not boasting, but all those things we did in the past, I'm seeing the returns many years after.
Absolutely.
Where I can today charge probably the highest fee anyone charges in the magic industry, because of the experience, exposure, and the talent I've developed through
And the
this
time investment that you made
over the
time,
last
right?
years.
Yeah.
And not only that, I was able to inspire a whole set of magicians in Sri Lanka and give them the opportunity to interact with these international magicians, which created more opportunities in this market. Because like me, they were also probably frowned upon when they said they're magicians.
Yes.
But today we have best, Arun Moli, who works with us. He was Youth with Talent season 1 finalist, right? His performance also changed the magic industry, because it was the first TV reality show, and there was interest that gained from that. But after that, what do? There was no hope. So all these things together started building a magic community. We used to have what we call jams, just about magic sessions, where we just catch up, we talk about magic, we share magic. Whoever the foreign friends we had, whenever they come back, they bring card packs and magic props for the youth. We were having webinars with international magicians through the contacts I built. Every time we have an international magician passing through, even transit in Sri Lanka, I used to get them to come and talk to the youth magicians here. And then, like when the Clairvoyants again came back, we brought them through Cinnamon Life. Again, we had 2 of our magicians who were behind stage supporting them, right? all that experience, and at that time Clairvoyance Act was a Broadway act, right?
Wow.
So you get to be part of a Broadway production.
Yeah.
None of this knowledge could have been brought to Sri Lanka unless we went out of Sri Lanka and put our time in those productions. I was invited to see Franz Harare's $40 million production in Macau.
I remember you
Yeah.
told me that story.
And
yes.
that he gave me the best privilege I could ever get. Number one, to see the show as in a VIP seat, and the next show behind stage
Yes.
with a camera. He allowed me to record everything. He said, the only promise is you cannot publish this, but you're fine to record everything.
Yes.
And I was able to see a guy who worked with Michael Jackson, where his crew was from Michael Jackson. His costume designer was Michael Jackson's costume designer, doing things behind the scene. All that knowledge was able to be brought back to Sri Lanka because we were going after it. And of course, going back to the challenges, then we had multiple plans. 2018, we were going to get Sean Farquhar's Hidden Wonders. We had paid advance to him, planned things. Then we had the Easter attack. Easter attack literally happened several days after the Clairvoyance performance. 2019, we had planned some other big artists to come to Sri Lanka with Night of Illusions again. Then Corona hit us.
Yes.
So yes, we always had these issues going on, and sometimes beyond your control.
Correct,
And that's the most important thing. I felt everything is in my control before that. You can plan. If you plan well, things will be successful. But what I didn't realize is the environment you are in is also very, very important.
Absolutely.
It's totally beyond your control. And things, when they happen, they do happen. But sometimes that moment of waiting, patience, is more important. Today, after Corona, sadly, most magicians went out of magic. They stopped doing magic. They went into different channels. Because it's a short-term perspective. Of course, you need to have a way of income. For me also, it's Hash 33, the business. You can't rely on magic 100% yet.
Yes.
However, still, me and couple of other magicians, we did online performance. We were performing over Zoom. It's an entire different game when you're on Zoom, because you don't see audience in front of you. You can't hear them even applauding. It's like a mime act. You're talking and you can't hear anyone else, right? So we had to build. I had to work with consultants from Vegas who were building online shows to give the tech for us to work over Zoom, so that we can control the views, give multiple camera angles within Zoom.
Wow. That's itself a learning, a big learning.
Definitely.
That you gain, and you are implementing that learning and sharing that learning with everyone else, right?
Exactly. And also we did magic workshops for kids. Magic for kids. We did magic workshops for non-magicians. So where we got professionals to come in, because the other thing is the taboo factor.
Yeah.
If you think that a magician is a profession, not a profession, is not a reputable thing, the next thing is to get professional people to become magicians. So I got engineers, doctors, well-known people to learn magic. So they go back and perform, and they give that respect to magic. So there were multiple things that went through, and all these had their own challenges and failures.
True.
But as I said, yes, I can't lie by saying yes, I always took everything positive. There were moments that I was re-evaluating my life choices.
Correct.
Because I sometimes put my family, you asked that question earlier, I kept my family behind at times. When we did Night of Illusions in 2016, my kid was 2 years, right? And my wife was the person who was suffering the most, because I'm not at home, I'm practicing, I'm putting our life savings onto this, taking a big gamble, not looking at a financial benefit. And like you asked, many people asked, why are you doing this? Are you earning money? Why are you investing? My own father asked me this question. He said, like, you should stop these stupid things now. Because what you could see is you're investing time, money, effort, friends, family, and you're not seeing return. But coming back, if you look at a long-term game and you start believing in what you want to do, and you consistently do it, whether you're a YouTuber or you're a digital marketer, you're a software engineer, if you consistently do things, and we talked in one of the episodes about discipline, and you have that discipline and passion, there'll be a time things will change.
That's powerful what Yasas said. Number one, start believing in your dream or goals. Number two, be consistent. Number three, don't give up in that process.
Definitely. And success cannot be guaranteed, but success is how you define success. success is not always financial success. Success is sometimes
It's part
not-
of it.
it's part
Financial
of it.
success is also required.
It's required.
But it's part of
It's
it.
part of it.
Yes.
Success could be fulfilling your dreams.
Yes.
Success could be maybe fame. Success could be learning. Success could be developing the next generation of, if in a magic term, magicians.
Yes.
Right? So it's how you define your success. And metrics, it's the same common example. They say, like, if you put all the animals to run a race and you say this is the fastest animal, you can't do it that way, because the way you are measuring every animal is different. So if you have a proper justification of what you intend success is, go after that. Yes, financial success is required, but it's not the only metric KPI to measure. There are other things you could do.
Other factors that you need
And
to
you know,
consider.
Hash 33, we are always all about that. We don't want to be the biggest company in the world. We want to make it the happiest company.
Yes.
And for us, success is happiness. Right?
Correct. Thank you, Yasas. I know, I believe that we have overshot time.
Again.
Again, every day probably we might have to extend the timeline.
Part 3, no.
No part 3. Trust me, no part 3, right? Part 2 is enough, right? So, thank you so much, Yasas, for sharing your experience with us. And you inspired me. Every single day you inspire me.
You too.
Apart from that, with this conversation, something that I'm taking home today is evaluating not to give up in my long term goals.
Exactly.
Because personally, when I have dreams, I chunk it down to short dreams or goals and execute it. However, you inspired me to re-evaluate that long goals, even though you don't see the success within your reach. So thank you so much, Yasas, for inspiring me. I 100% know that the viewers over there, through that mic, not the mic, what do you call this, camera, through that camera, the person who's seeing is inspired with your words. And
I hope so.
One thing that I can say is this village boy is Gamekolla village boy is also performing in international arenas. Especially, I don't want to use the influencer's name, one of the prominent influencers in the world. He has had the opportunity to go to his house and do a performance. True story, right? Probably you have uploaded that video in your social media handles. So if you are interested to know who this person is, go to Yasas Instagram page and just go through the videos. And thank you so much, Yasas.
Thank you, Asi.
I will see you
In another
probably
session.
next week or
I think
next
I need to
session.
take the host seat
Probably
back.
we will have to change the
Yes,
CD.
yes.
Thank you very much and all the very best.
Thank you. And thank you everyone who's watching from home. See you soon.
Cheers.